Hey guys, we're back in the booth today doing an alternative lures Bad Shad. It's the replica of the Spro Chad Shad. See all the scale details here, that'll really show through once I get paint laid down on it. I'm going to try to do another transparent lure today. You can see one of the other differences, it does have a different tail. Now I may eventually start to produce the paintbrush style tail for it if I can get this little slot right here molded correctly with epoxy, or if I can make a mold for it, which shouldn't be too awful hard. Just have to get it set right. But all right, come along for the journey. All right, so our first color we're going to use is going to be Titan Buff. Really use this more as like a bone style color. Just going to go more across the shoulders here with it. I'm going to leave the belly kind of transparent for now. I may spray a little bit of iridescent clear over it. May even hit it with a little bit of blue interference over top of the iridescent pearl. But let's get that on there. And as always, we're using Golden High Flow, my favorite paint to use. Like I said last video, I do use Createx a little bit, but it's not very often. Adjust the pressure just a little bit. And I apologize for my first video. There was a lot of shaking when the compressor would kick on. Made a mistake and had the compressor inside the bottom of the paint booth. I've since moved it, so there shouldn't be any kind of shaking in the camera this time. Just going to kind of go down around the top of that fin. Maybe a little bit under the nose right there. I did spend some time a little bit ago and actually cut out a fin stencil for this particular bait. Never been good at doing fins, so we're going to play around with that today too. Trying a new camera angle out as well. Really liking it so far from what I can tell. But let's heat set this and go to the next color. You can really start to see that scale detail coming out right through there. Let's see, let's go with iridescent pearl next. Here we go. This is just to give the bone a little bit of shine, a little bit of shimmer. I'm not going to go over the back with it because I am going to go over the back with an interference. And as always, we'll probably do a little bit of black on the back as well. Just going to kind of be a simple little pattern. I'm not going to do a huge amount of detail in it. Mainly want to test these blanks out, so I'm trying to get one painted up so that when I fish next week, I'll be able to try them out and make sure they run right. And I trust Luis at Alternative. He's never steered me wrong. So just want to see how they compare to the actual Spro Chad Shad as well. So let's go in with a little bit of sepia. I'm not sure how you say it, but I think everybody's a little different. Try to do a really light coat of this because I'm going to do some gold, green gold as well. I'm going to do a little bit of a dirty gizzard shad. Just a little bit up the back there. Don't want it to go too dark. Perfect. Really the only thing I'm going to be doing black on is just around the eyes to darken the eyes up a little bit, the nose and the shad dot for the most part. I'm going to wait and do my shad dot and my eyes last because I'm going to do an interference blue over the whole thing. All right, now we go in with green gold. If you're just starting airbrushing, one thing that I have learned, and the reason I like these golden paints, is they do have just a little eyedropper lid on them instead of the big squirt bottle like these. These you have to thin, so you have to put a bunch in a cup, put a bunch of thinner in it. You really never know how much you're going to need. These I can just drop a few drops in the cup on my paintbrush or my airbrush, and I'm not wasting a whole bunch of paint. That's a big thing for me. I really wasted a lot of paint when I first started. That's about right. All right, now the question becomes, do we use interference blue or black? Or blue or violet, rather. Keep in mind, I'm going to be going with a black. Around the eyes and for my shad dot. You know, I actually may need to do a little bit of sepia down the back just to kind of darken that up a little bit. It kind of looks odd. With the bone color back on it. Just go down the back here just a little bit. Not a lot. There we go. Made it look a little better. Now, let's heat set everything. One thing you can do too if you're trying to blend colors is you don't heat set between coats if you're trying to heat set, or if you're gonna try to blend them. When you heat set, it's gonna have a little bit of a harder line to it, but if you just kind of let it flow together, you should be fine. Kind of what I did there, I didn't heat set between those two colors, and they kind of blended together down through the bottom here, which makes it look a little bit more natural. Nature rarely has hard lines, so that's kind of what I look at when I'm looking at those. All right, I think what I'm going to do is do an interference blue down through here. I am going to have to crank my pressure back up a little bit for this because I don't thin these golden paints. This is just called golden fluid. It's not high flow. So you do have to spray it a little higher pressure. I think right now I'm spraying this at about 40. PSI. So we'll just go in right here. It's going to give it kind of a nice blue glow across the bottom. It may be hard to see in the camera. You can kind of see a little bit of a blue tone to it. And I'll heat set that so that I don't have to worry about it smudging if I touch it by accident. I ordered some eyes for these things, some natural look eyes for these things this week that should be here soon, but I actually found some that I had here that I forgot about that I will try them here in just a second. Once we get the shad dot on, get the fin done, probably gonna do a little bit of black in the fin, a little bit of more sepia, however you say it. But yeah, if you're liking this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Really trying to grow the channel. I want to show you guys how I paint. Take any requests that you guys may want to have done for yourselves. I would like to start doing that some. That way you've got a video of your bait being painted. Eventually I'm going to start getting into some paint and catch videos. I know a lot of people do cast to catch. I'd like to do some paint to catch videos. I think that would be kind of neat. Let me know what you guys think. Shoot me a comment down at the bottom. And I'm sure as I do more and more of these, the video quality will get better and better. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Oh, it's way too much pressure. Something like this, you really don't want to be over about 10 or 15 pounds of pressure. Just doing these small details like this. You just want to get it darkened up just so that the eye pops when you place it. I'll do a little bit down here around the nose, just to darken that up just a little bit. All right, one thing that I always do, typically I keep a lot of towels and stuff like that handy. So one thing that I will do when I'm getting ready to start doing detailing work on them, I'll lay out a little towel here, and I've got a block that I've made for painting crankbaits, and I will wrap the bait or wrap the block up in the towel. That way when I get ready to do my detail work, I can slide it back towards me. I can just take the bait out, lay it out just like so, and be able to do things like my shad dot, stuff like that. That way I can kind of count back on the scales. That's what I always do, is I'll count back however many scales, and then down from the top however many scales. Like on this one I'll probably do 4 scales back, 3 scales down, just so I make sure it's in exactly the right spot on each side. And then I've got a shad dot that I typically always use. It's just one that I found. Actually, I think I ordered this in a big stencil pack, and I just taped around all the other holes, just so that I'm not getting any kind of overspray anywhere. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Go down 2, back 4. Right there, just behind the gill plate. go. Heat set this really quick. Just so that it doesn't smudge when I set him down here. What you always want to do too is wipe your stencil off, make sure it's clean, and then just flip it right over. That way you have the exact same pattern on that side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Keeping an eye on that scale. Just go right back in with it right there. And it should match up perfectly. All right, so that's done. Next we'll do the fin stencil. I'm almost half tempted to go back in with some gold interference around the top of these scales, maybe with a little bit of a scale pattern, like a little bit of mesh. Just kind of shoot that way so that the back sides of a scale kind of forms there. I'll have to look. It looks good. I don't really want to ruin it. Sometimes you can do too much, and I have been guilty of that more often than not. All right, so we're going to flip this up here, get this back a little closer where I'm not in the camera frame there. Really all I want to do is just kind of go over this top edge of this fin with a little bit of black. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it on that. I'm going to do the front part. That's way too much pressure. Something that close and that detailed, you really want it on low pressure. So while I've still got the black in the gun, just gonna kind of hit the front edge there of that fin. On both sides, and then we'll come back in with some sepia over that top edge just to give it a little bit of an outline. Again, this is a reproduction of a Spro Shad. It's just a really good way for custom painters to be able to get their hands on stuff that that people want, but stuff that the manufacturers, such as Spro, Berkeley, those guys, that they won't release clear blanks to people, just off the street. So it's just a good way for us to get our hands on stuff like this. I almost thought about just doing a candy color, since I've got that sheen behind it with that blue. I had almost thought about doing like a candy tequila yellow on that fin. But I know with candy colors, they typically are very, very thin. They typically run, if you get them too thick, they can bleed through when you do your UVLS clear coat, which is what I'll do next after I get the eyeball in it. Yeah, let's just go with a little bit of light coat of sepia. I occasionally do work with inks. I don't know if you can see them in the back of the booth there. I think I mentioned Whitney in the last video. He really likes the inks, and I do too, especially if you're painting I've done this before. If you're painting a resin bait and you don't want to go full on with clear coat, if your clear coat's a little wonky, they're typically waterproof. I won't say waterproof, but they're not water soluble, so to speak. So it'll resist water a little better. Yeah, looks pretty good there. And then if you just need to hit it again with that color, you can. Done that in pink before, that fluorescent pink in the back of the booth there. Yeah, not bad. Keep hitting my head on the camera, so I do apologize if there is a little bit of a jar every now and then. Trying that new camera angle, and the camera is right at my head level, so I do apologize if I'm hitting it. All right, there they are. Let's get these eyeballs put in, and she will look very much like a shad. Just a little dot of super glue right in the middle. With this gel, I just use the smallest little dot. I have noticed on some baits when I first started, you'd glob the super glue in there, and when it would dry, it would turn white and kind of look crusty around the eyes. So I try not to let it get out past the eyes now. Just try to get these centered up in there, and that way the clear coat has somewhere to pool up around the eyes. Kind of seal that eye in there. Pupil always points forward. And a fish. All right. Looking like a dirty old gizzard shad. All right, so let's get him hung up here. We'll get some UVLS on there, and then we will be done for the night. All right, guys, well, there you have it. Finished product. Looks pretty fishy to me. All right, till next time, guys. Tune in again.